Gloria Vanderbilt was more than just a fashion icon and heiress. She was also a devoted mother to 4 sons: Leopold, Stan Stokowski, Christopher Stokowski, Carter Vanderbilt Cooper, and Anderson Cooper. Despite coming from one of America's most well-known families, her life was filled with deep personal joys and heartbreaking losses. Her eldest son, Stan, was born in 1950 during her marriage to composer Leopold Stokowski. Though he grew up in the spotlight, Stan chose a quiet life, running landscaping businesses and raising 2 daughters, Aurora and Abra. He still supported family events, including a red carpet premiere for his mother's 2016 documentary. Her second son, Christopher, born in 1952, also lived away from public life. After a falling out with Gloria due to a disagreement involving her therapist, he remained estranged from the family for 38 years. In 2016, he and Anderson reconciled, bringing a long-overdue peace to the family. With her 4th husband, Wyatt Cooper, Gloria had 2 more sons. Carter, born in 1965, was a bright student who graduated from Princeton, but his life ended in tragedy when he died by suicide in 1988 at just 23. Gloria was there when it happened and carried the grief with her for the rest of her life. She later co-wrote The Rainbow Comes and Goes with Anderson to explore the impact of loss and healing. Anderson Cooper, born in 1967, became the most publicly recognized of Gloria's children, forging a successful career in journalism. He was extremely close to his mother, especially after Carter's death. Together, they created the HBO documentary Nothing Left Unsaid, which explored their relationship and Gloria's extraordinary life. Anderson has said their shared grief brought them even closer, and he often honors her legacy publicly. In 2020, Anderson became a father himself, naming his first son Wyatt Morgan in tribute to his parents. He had a second son, Sebastian Luke, in 2022. Anderson has often spoken about how his experiences with grief shaped his life and inspired his podcast All There Is, which explores love, loss, and the universal human experience of mourning. Gloria Vanderbilt passed away in 2019, but through her sons, especially Anderson, her story and her legacy of love lives on. You said, make it more long. ChatGPT said. Gloria Vanderbilt is remembered by many as a fashion icon, socialite, artist, and a woman who shaped modern style and culture in America. But beyond the glamour and the headlines, she was a mother, one who loved fiercely, faced unimaginable grief, and remained deeply devoted to her 4 sons throughout her life: Leopold, Stan Stokowski, Christopher Stokowski, Carter Vanderbilt Cooper, and Anderson Cooper. Born into the storied Vanderbilt family, Gloria's life was never far from the public eye. Yet her journey through motherhood was marked by both extraordinary moments and heartbreaking challenges. Her first 2 sons, Stan and Christopher, were from her marriage to acclaimed composer Leopold Stokowski. Stan was born in 1950 and Christopher in 1952. Despite growing up in a famous household, both boys largely avoided the limelight as adults. Stan Stokowski, Gloria's eldest, took a more private path. Though he was born into fame, he chose a quieter life running landscaping businesses in New England and New York. Over the years, he was married to Ivy Strick and later Emily Goldstein, with whom he shares at least 2 daughters, Aurora and Abra. Despite staying away from the public, Stan occasionally made appearances to support his family, such as attending Gloria's art exhibition in 2012 and the premiere of the HBO documentary Nothing Left Unsaid in 2016, which celebrated his mother's life and legacy. Christopher Stokowski, Gloria's second son, also preferred life out of the spotlight. However, his relationship with Gloria became strained in the late 1970s following conflicts involving her therapist. The tension eventually led to a decades-long estrangement. Christopher disappeared from public view for nearly 40 years, not even appearing in Nothing Left Unsaid. However, in 2016, Anderson Cooper confirmed that he and Christopher had reconciled, marking a healing moment after years of distance. With her 4th husband, writer Wyatt Cooper, Gloria found deep love and had 2 more sons, Carter and Anderson. Carter Vanderbilt Cooper, born in 1965, was bright, charming, and filled with potential. He attended the prestigious Dalton School in New York and graduated from Princeton University in 1987. Gloria often included Carter and Anderson in her social world, even inviting them to dine with legendary figures such as Truman Capote and Charlie Chaplin. But tragedy struck in 1978 when Wyatt died during open-heart surgery, leaving Gloria to raise Carter and Anderson on her own. 10 years later, in 1988, Gloria experienced a loss no parent should endure. At just 23 years old, Carter died by suicide after falling from the 14th floor balcony of their apartment, as Gloria watched helplessly. The trauma haunted her for the rest of her life. When I lay in bed, I would see in front of me a huge screen like in a movie theater, and the whole thing would play over and over again, she told People magazine in 1997. The pain of that day never faded, but Gloria found solace in talking about Carter. It brings him alive and it brings him closer, and it means that he hasn't been forgotten, she once said. Gloria and her youngest son Anderson shared a particularly deep bond, one that grew even stronger following Carter's death. Anderson, born in 1967, would grow up to become one of America's most trusted journalists. He has hosted Anderson Cooper 360 on CNN since 2003 and is a correspondent for 60 Minutes. Through all of his accomplishments, Anderson has remained grounded by his family history and the lessons of loss, love, and resilience passed down by his mother. In 2016, Gloria and Anderson co-authored the book The Rainbow Comes and Goes, A Mother and Son on Life, Love and Loss, which explored their lives and grief. That same year, their documentary Nothing Left Unsaid aired on HBO, offering a rare and intimate look into their relationship and Gloria's extraordinary life. In 2019, Gloria passed away at the age of 95. In a heartfelt on-air tribute, Anderson said, "Love is what Gloria believed in more than anything." He added that she died as she lived, on her own terms. Her death marked the end of a remarkable chapter, but her legacy continues, especially through Anderson's own journey into fatherhood. In April 2020, Anderson welcomed his first son, Wyatt Morgan Cooper, naming him after his late father. Wyatt's middle name, Morgan, is a family name from the Vanderbilt side. In 2022, he had a second son, Sebastian Luke. Anderson has spoken about the comfort and joy of seeing his sons play with the same toys he and Carter used to cherish. These small moments connect past and present, keeping the memory of those lost alive in new ways. Anderson's experience with loss led him to create the podcast All There Is with Anderson Cooper, where he speaks candidly about grief. Grief is not really discussed openly, but it's a bond that we all share, he said. His mission is to break the silence and encourage connection through the shared experience of mourning. Gloria Vanderbilt's life was one of style, creativity, and transformation. But perhaps her most enduring legacy is the love she gave her children. Love that carried them through tragedy and shaped them into who they are today. Through her art, her story, and most importantly,